Hey, everybody, welcome to another edition of the Masters Fantasy Show brought to you by MastersFantasyFootballLeagues.com. As always, I got the Masters crew here with me, Dynasty Al, the Doc. What's up, guys? How you doing today?
Doing great.
I'm great.
Yeah, me too, man. Jumping into another fantasy team outlook. This one here, the Kansas City Chiefs. Probably the most high-powered offense in the NFL. Going to start right at the quarterback position. Probably the number one overall quarterback in all of fantasy football, regular football too. Patrick Mahomes. Really, what else can we say about this guy?
Yeah, it's hard to argue that. I mean, they'll throw it as much as anyone, and obviously his arms,
Special.
just special. The weapons in terms of, well, we'll talk about that when we get into the rest of it. But yeah, I mean, it's hard not to love Mahomes in Dynasty and redraft at the quarterback position.
Yeah, I mean, he's a special talent. He's only been in the league for however many years, and he's already widely considered the best at his position, which is crazy.
Crazy. Do you guys think he gets more than Tom? I don't.
No, I don't. I think the contract
Yeah.
kind of puts them in a tough spot to keep coming back and winning. His contract,
Yeah.
I should say.
Yeah, and something I'll say too, and I'm sure he's going to be a lot harder to get now. But just like last year, I was able to pick up Lamar Jackson off a guy, that had Lamar and Patrick Mahomes. I wish I would have tried a little harder for Mahomes than I did. Take a look in your league anyway. Look at the roster, especially in one quarterback leagues. Some guys end up with 2-3 good quarterbacks. Offer the house for this guy if you can. Set yourself up a quarterback for the next decade.
Yeah.
I'm going to move on here to the wide receiver position. Sammy Watkins out. Still got some studs on there. Maybe some sleepers, too. Some guys I really like. I'll let you guys touch on the wide receivers.
Let you dive in first.
Tyreek Hill, that's a pretty easy one to talk about. The fastest receiver in the league, one of the best receivers in the league. Just ridiculous what he's able to do with the ball in his hands. And, we've seen him dominate last year and the years before. When he's on the field, which, he did better of it last year, but, when he's on the field, he's very hard to cover. And we've seen that happen. And, it went from him being more like, boom or bust type of performances to being a consistent, legitimate, like top 5 fantasy wide receiver. And, I don't know if there's really anything else you need to say about him. He's legit. And the guy that I really like, though, and this is a bit of a dark horse, even though it's probably going to be a common dark horse pick, would be Mecole Hardman. They added him a few years ago in the draft when it seemed like maybe Tyreek Hill was possibly done, when he had some off-field stuff going on. And, he hasn't really had the opportunity to take that big leap forward because they had guys like Sammy Watkins and Demarcus Robinson kind of eating into his role a little bit. Now, it seems like the door is open for him to take that huge step and make a jump in this offense. And you always see flashes from him. He always looks great at times, but I'm anxious to see if he can be consistent with it, because if he is consistent, I think he's going to have a huge season, and I don't know if people are necessarily ready for the season that he could have.
Yeah, I like the take, and definitely feel the same about the guys you mentioned. And I still think they're very likely to go out and add one more receiver.
Yeah.
I was shocked to hear that they had offered Juju like a 1-year, $10 million type deal that he turned down. So Antonia Brown's a name we throw out there when we were talking about Seattle. Maybe they go throw out, $5 million for AB to come play for a year. I think they're going to try and add a veteran receiver to go along with those two guys. So be interesting to see who they do.
And I'm just going to say, man, Juju's an idiot. That's just my opinion.
I know.
You take that contract. You go play with Patrick Mahomes.
I know, yeah.
I don't know what he's thinking.
He could have set himself up to be like on a Hall of Fame career type path with Patrick Mahomes. Love the Mecole Hardman take. And as you were saying it, I was sitting here thinking about it. And I think Tyreek will be the number one.
Yeah.
I think it's not even close. If Mecole Hardman can close that gap a little bit with Tyreek's age, going into if it's not next year, the year after, I wouldn't be surprised to see Mecole Hardman start getting drafted ahead of Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's coming. It's not going to be that long before that happens.
Yeah.
So if you see some flashes in consistency from Mecole Hardman, I'd go get him now.
Yeah.
But if you're hesitant, if we get 3-4 weeks into it, and you start to see some consistency out of it, go get him.
Yeah, I mean, I have him in a couple leagues too, where it's been tough at times because it hasn't been the greatest return on investment so far. But I think this year will be the first year where you can toss him in your lineup and feel good about starting him every week.
Yeah, because Patrick Mahomes should be able to support a number 2 wide receiver.
Right.
Well, we'll talk about the next position.
Yeah, that kind of helps.
The number 2.
Yeah.
Another reason, though, I think one of these guys' time's coming. Travis Kelsey,
right.
32 years old, obviously the best tight end in fantasy football last year, the last few years. I think I told you guys a 50-point discrepancy between him and Waller last year between first and second place. Both of you guys chose the under for this season. You think it'll be a little closer this year. But your guys' thoughts on Travis Kelsey? I mean, another guy. I mean, what else can we say about this guy?
Absolutely phenomenal. My only maybe small sleeper is whoever the number 2 tight end is. I actually think it's Ricky Seals-Jones right now. But just in case Kelsey goes down, all of a sudden that number 2 tight end could be one of the best tight ends in fantasy.
Yeah, that's a good take.
But,
it's all. Yeah, go ahead.
Don't want to predict injuries.
That's something I've never done. Have you guys ever handcuffed a tight end? And is Travis Kelsey
sort
worth
of?
The handcuff?
So I had a handcuffed
so.
Ertz all the when Goddard was coming out because I loved Goddard. So I had a lot of Ertz and Goddard teams. So kind of I've done it, but not very. It's not a strategy I would do very often.
Well, I think maybe look for that show coming out soon. We're going to do a Travis
tight
Kelsey
end
and why you should handcuff him.
Yeah. Honestly, no, go ahead.
I handcuffed Gronk and OJ Howard last year. I was doing that kind of.
Yeah, I think I did it with Higbee and Everett at one point, which was that was a waste. I will say too, and we've kind of talked about it about Derrick Henry and even DeAndre Hopkins in some past shows, but there comes a point where, I mean, Travis Kelsey, I think he's missed, 1 game since his rookie season?
Yeah.
That's very rare that a guy's able to be that durable in this sport, taking the punishment that he does, too. I mean, over the middle, a lot of tough yards. I mean, again, I don't want to predict injury or even say that it could happen. I'm just saying it's hard for a guy in the NFL to stay healthy for 16, now 17 games. I mean, he's been able to do it, but there's going to come a point where it's going to be tough. I mean, we see it with almost everybody. So, I mean, I think it's good to keep an eye out on whoever their tight end 2 is, and then same thing with the guys like Mecole Hardman and whoever else they add, if they do add somebody.
Yeah, well, I mean, whoever's playing with Patrick Mahomes for the next decade going to be very
pretty
valuable.
Much.
And, I mean, you got to look at it, 2 top weapons. I mean, they're getting up there. So, definitely got to keep an eye on these guys up and coming in that offense. That's going to wrap up this edition of the Team Fantasy.
We didn't talk about the running back room.
That's right.
Yeah. So real quick, I mean, I'm sure we all expect a big bounce back year from Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I think we were all super high on him coming out. Last year, a little disappointing, but I think, do we all have Clyde in our top 12 running back this year?
I do this year.
Yeah. Definitely.
I actually think he's going to finish top 5.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean,
he very well could. And I feel like when he did play last year, he looked good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He definitely looked good. It was just a matter of touches.
Sure.
Which was kind of weird because I thought touches would be the thing he'd get from the start. So it'll be interesting to see how they use him. But
one thing that scares me, a guy offered me Todd Gurley today, and I clicked on Todd Gurley. I didn't know if anything had happened with him. I did see one of the landing spots they thought for Todd Gurley was going to be Kansas City.
So I'm kind of glad you said that because one other thing that I don't even want to say pump the brakes on Clyde, but I saw they were meeting with a few running backs pre-draft, and not the upper echelon backs. We're not talking Najee Harris or Etienne, but Puka Williams out of Kansas, guys like that they had pre-draft meetings with. So I do think they're going to add another back to the room. So obviously Clyde's going to be the number 1 guy, but it's not going to be just him. There's going to be some other talented guys who they try and get some touches. So
right, and obviously I'm out on Gurley, but I did think if they did sign him, I mean, anytime they get in the 5-yard line, here you go, Todd. I think he can still be a pretty good goal line back.
Sure.
All right, try this one more time. All right, guys, that's going to wrap up this edition of the Team Fantasy Outlook. Thanks so much for watching. If you could, hit the like and subscribe button. Also, if you're looking for a place to play Dynasty or redraft football, MastersFantasyFootballLeagues.com. I think last year we ran almost 2,000 leagues. So I promise you won't be disappointed. That's all we got. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Good